Ways I tested this. When I could hear the perpetrator negatively commenting on what I'm doing trying to distract me, I noticed they would use words that I didn't. So if my brain only retains the words that I know and use, how can it come up with new words and use it in a sentence? Some of the words they used was cure, admire, improvement and private marshal, which I had to Google the meaning of. That right there proves I wasn't having auditory hallucination. I've already turned the power off and confirmed the device making me hear the perpetrator commenting and brainwashing me on everything I'm doing in my private personal zone was plugged in one of these houses that also lost electricity. They program the equipment responsible for making you hear the perpetrator's voice commenting on everything you do close by. The reason I say this is because I shift gears like a drag racer, and every time I shifted gears I would hear through the voice induce in my head. Yeah, mad gear changing. When I did a bad gear change I would still hear. Yeah, mad gear changing. I've tested this going in a remote location where there is only power lines and cellular towers and I could hear it, and when I went away from that I couldn't hear it. This is electromagnetic energy is projected through the air to the head of a human being, and electromagnetic energy is modulated to create signals that can be discerned by the human being regardless of the hearing ability of the person. When we went to Fraser Island, my targeted individual mate reported getting zapped. His definition of getting hit by the energy weapon stopped around the area you would lose cellular reception and there was no power lines producing electromagnetics. I live next to a main road and every time a car drives past I would hear the perpetrator's voice commenting. What I gathered from this was the audio is always there, and when I'm in the car's alternator's toroidal field it amplifies the audio. I tested this with a battery-operated shaver and waved the shaver around my head and I could sometimes amplify the perpetrator talking. It comes to a point where the voices just repeat because they can't come up with new material. However, this is enough for some targeted individuals to fall for it. Firstly, a targeted individual has to know they are a targeted individual. So many people targeted don't even know what that is, so fooling them into thinking they are hearing voices and it's a mental problem becomes easy to the perpetrator. I accidentally came across targeted individuals' information and everything mentioned ticked the box. They will silently study their victims in relations to how they will play mind games with them. So say for example a religious person might get targeted and brainwashed, making them think it's the devil or making them think it's witchcraft. I met this female targeted individual and they had her fooled into chanting prayers and they would leave her alone. They were hitting her with some sort of weapon, making her feel things crawling under her skin. She wanted to shave her head. Here in Queensland this type of targeting is used on Australians, giving them a mental record. Basically confirmed by a few people when a victim ends up admitted in the mental hospital, and the minute you say you're hearing voices without asking you any other questions they put you on treatment authority. When you start receiving antipsychotic treatment the perpetrators turn the voices off, so to a person who does not know these voices commenting is induced to their head, then they will fall for it thinking the treatment is working. After going off or escaping treatment authority they will target you again, putting you back on treatment. The medication does nothing other than turn you into a vegetable. If you truthfully report to your doctor you're not hearing voices, then it makes the treatment look like it's working.